Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I wanted to do a Mocha Mousse inspired makeup look. I know I'm like the last person to do this. Mocha Mousse, as I'm sure you know, is the Pantone color of the year this year, and that is one of my favorite tones, one of my favorite colors. So I actually created this look a few days ago for Instagram. It hasn't been posted, I don't think, by the time this video goes up, but I really liked how the look turned out and I wanted to recreate it for YouTube. And most of the products we're going to use are actually from my everyday makeup drawer or my project pan for the year and the month. So we're going to recreate my version of the Mocha Mousse makeup look today. If you are new here, my name is Blair. I do all kinds of beauty content here on my channel and I would love for you to subscribe if you have not already. And let's get into the makeup. Okay, so when I did this look the other day, I did do eyes first, which is not something I typically do. I typically always do base first, but since I was using, or I knew I was using some darker brown colors on my eyes, I just thought it might be better to do eyes first for this. So we'll do that again today, but I'm gonna do my brows first. And I'm actually using this brow lamination gel. This is the L'Oreal one. This one's in my everyday makeup drawer for the month. So I'm trying to use it up. It's not my favorite. I don't think the hold is that great, especially for it being like a lamination type gel, but I do think this is kind of intended to be used like this on bare skin, so we'll use this first. And then I usually just take like a clean spoolie and just kind of brush the hairs down a little bit because I'm just not really into that super fluffy laminated look anymore. I don't mind the laminated look, but the really fluffy brow look, like I used to do it, is like a little bit much for me now. So I usually kind of brush them down a little bit. And then I'm just gonna use my Kosas Brow Pop Nano to fill them in a little bit. This is what I'm using this month in my everyday makeup drawer. It's so funny, I used to do my brows like this all the time. As in, like I would do the brow gel first and then fill them in, or I would do like a brow soap or something like that and then fill them in. And now when I do it, it feels so foreign because I quit doing that quite a while ago. So now it feels really strange when I do. So this is my first video I'm filming since posting my pregnancy announcement. And thank you so much for all of your comments on that video and just everything. I knew I would get nice comments from all of you because I have so many kind people here on my channel, but I did not expect that kind of response. So thank you so much if you left a comment, or even if you didn't and you watched the video. I really, really appreciate it. I'm so relieved to have that out there now. So that's one thing I do not have to worry about anymore, is trying to keep that a secret. And if you left me an Instagram message or a comment and I haven't responded, I just haven't gotten to it yet. There are so many of them, but I will definitely do my best to get back to everybody. But it might take me a little while, but thank you so, so much for all that kindness. We really, really appreciate it. All right, moving into the eyes. I'm gonna do this exactly as I did it the other day because I really loved how it turned out and it was very easy. Not very many products were used at all. So the first thing I did was I did take a little bit of this r.e.m Beauty Midnight Matte eyeshadow. This is the shade Later, and this is in my project pan. And I basically just used this as a base or like a primer. This one has a little tiny bit of color to it. It's a really light brown, but it's not a whole lot darker than my skin tone, so it doesn't add a ton of color, but it's a really nice base for this look. These are actually really, really good from r.e.m. Now, I should say this shade is really, really good. This is the only shade I've tried, but this is a really nice matte eyeshadow, liquid eyeshadow. I mean, it's so easy to use, very creamy, very long lasting, but no one talks about these. Now, for the main mocha color, when I was trying to figure out what I was going to use for this, I was just kind of looking in my everyday makeup drawer. That was kind of the idea I had, was I wanted to recreate a Mocha Mousse look with the products that I'm using this month. So I was going through things and I realized I literally have the perfect color right here, and it's this shade here from Victoria Beckham's signature palette. Because this is, when I think of mocha, that's kind of the color that I think of right there. It's not warm, because I've seen a lot of Mocha Mousse looks and a lot of them lean warm. To me, mocha is more cool toned when I think of that. So that is what I'm going to use for this look. And I used this brush. Now, I don't know if you can get this brush anymore, but it's a really good one, especially for this. This is r.e.m. Shodo 00. I think it was from a limited edition set they did maybe for the holidays, but it's kind of a longer, more tapered shader brush that's pretty fluffy. But that's what I used for this, and this was literally the perfect brush for this, because you could apply the color, but it wasn't too much or too heavy because the brush is so fluffy. And then because the end is a little bit more tapered, you can really use the end of the brush or the bristles to blend. So it's kind of like an all-in-one product. It's kind of similar to like the 206 from BK Beauty. This one's a little bit more dense though. This one is unique because it's very like wispy on the end. But basically I took this one shade and I just kept building it up and just kind of going back and forth until I got it to the depth that I wanted. But like, to me, that color is Mocha Mousse. But I couldn't believe I actually had the perfect color just sitting in my everyday makeup drawer when I was trying to figure out what I was going to use for this. And these shadows are nice for this too, because they're not super, super pigmented right away, so you can really build them up pretty easily without it getting like out of hand or too much. So I just kind of went back in a few times and just kept building it up, and then kind of meeting the crease up here where we have that rim shadow. Then I went back into the palette and I used this kind of lighter beigey color with a little blending brush from r.e.m. This is the r.e.m. 14, and I basically just kind of went around the edges with this just to kind of blend everything together. Now this color is a little bit warmer than the mocha color that we used, but I think that they go together pretty well. And then I went back into this palette and I took this brown. So this is like a really deep, cooler tone brown with a little r.e.m. 23 brush. This is probably one of my most used r.e.m. brushes, this tiny little pointer brush, because it's really good for just small, precise areas. And I basically just used that darker shade for liner. And then at the very, very edge, I'll like flick it outward just a little bit, but I really wanted just a very soft liner look without using an actual eyeliner. And then once I got it there, I went back to that brush we used with the mocha color. And I just kind of feathered over it with the very, very edge of the bristles, just to make sure it looks nice and diffused. I was actually kind of shocked, honestly, that Pantone chose this color for the Pantone color of the year, because I feel like the last few colors have been like brighter colors. I was kind of surprised that they chose a neutral this time, but you know me, I love a good neutral, so I love this color choice. And I feel like this color is kind of one of those tones that is pretty universal. I feel like everybody looks good in like a dark, slightly smoky, really like taupey based brown. So I was happy with that choice. All right, so we'll probably come back to the eyes towards the end, but that was kind of the base of the whole look. I really like it. I think it's super pretty. All right, let's move into the complexion. I am gonna do a little bit of primer, so I'm gonna use the iconic London Underglow Blurring Primer. Usually I do this with my hands, but since I've already got the eye stuff on, I don't want to mess anything up, so I can be a little bit more precise with a brush. So I'm just using the N17 from BK Beauty and Nikki LaRose. Next, for foundation, we're gonna use this one from Chanel that I love. This is in the everyday makeup drawer this month too. This is the Beiges Healthy Glow foundation, but mine is a little bit too dark for me right now. This is shade B20. That works well for me in the summertime, but right now that's a little bit dark for me. So I am mixing in some Haus Labs white pigment, and then I'm going to use this Mario dual-ended brush. I think this is the F4, and I'm just using the larger side to stipple this in. This foundation is so pretty. I wore this yesterday. I filmed a different video, and by the end of the day, when I went to take my makeup off, I was just looking at it, and this stuff is so beautiful. It wears beautifully. It's a little bit glowy, but not too much. It's just the right amount. It's really, really beautiful. Yes, it's expensive, but it is one of the prettiest foundations I own. Moving on to the under eyes, I'm going to use my Charlotte Tilbury Magic Vanish to color correct a little bit, which I desperately need. And just focusing a little bit of this anywhere where I have darkness or I have any melasma. For concealer, I'm gonna take a little bit of the Huda concealer. This is the Faux filter concealer in, what color is this? Cotton Candy. And I'm gonna do my under eyes, and then I'm gonna take a little bit right here. I did this the other day too, kind of underneath where blush or bronzer would go, and it kind of, I guess it's like reverse contouring. I'm gonna switch to that Mario brush, and I'm just kind of going over the areas where I want the least amount of the pigment first. So that's really like just right in my T-zone. Then we'll start blending this out on the side. I never really do this, like the reverse contour thing. Sometimes I do concealer after I've done bronzer right there, but I don't often do it before. But when I did it the other day, I thought it actually worked pretty well. And of course I switched under the eyes to the N14 from BK Beauty and Nikki LaRose. Kind of going over that edge again of the eyeshadow too, just to make sure it blends evenly into the foundation. Moving on to bronzer, I'm going to use the Fenty Cream Bronzer in Butter Biscuit. This is also in my project pan right now. And I'm just using the smaller side of the Mario brush for this. Going back in with the larger side of the Mario brush now. And just kind of going along the edges of that bronzer just to make sure everything blends seamlessly together. And then for blush, I did use this, which is the Mario Soft Pop Blush Veil in Barely Blushing, because this color literally goes with everything. So I'm just using the small end of that brush again and applying a little bit of that. And now we need some powder. So I'm going to use this one from Sigma. This is the Soft Blur setting powder in the shade Vanilla Bean. And I'm just going to kind of work that into my puff. And I'm going to start kind of setting the very center of the face. This is another product that I knew that I liked, but it'd been a little while since I used it. Since having it in the everyday makeup drawer, I've been using it a lot more, and this powder is phenomenal and nobody talks about it, but it is a very, very nice loose powder. Then I'm gonna take a little bit more of the powder and just go right underneath the bronzer and blush. I don't do that all the time, but sometimes I will. Taking a little bit more of the powder and setting that concealer as well. All right, now we're gonna go back to the eyes for a second. And honestly, there's not a whole lot more I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna take a little bit more of that really pretty mocha color and just add a little bit more of that right in this center area, and then kind of feather it up a little bit. And then I'm gonna take a little bit more of the darker brown and add just a tiny bit of that, and then I can even take my finger and fix that a little bit. But honestly, that's really it for the top, at least. Take the little Refer 14 again and just blend those edges one more time. I'm just gonna take a little bit of this and the brown. So those two shades are the primary shades we used. And I'm gonna put those under the eye. And then the only other thing I'm gonna do besides mascara is I'm gonna take the Mario eyeliner in the Perfect Brown. Just a little bit of this, basically where we applied the darker shade on top. Then I'm gonna curl my lashes. This is the new BK Beauty lash curler. I'm trying to get used to it. It's a little bit different for me. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. So this part right here is a little bit thick, like thicker than this, which is what I usually use. The Surratt, this top part here is not quite as big and bulky as this one. So that's the only thing that's kind of throwing me off. It's kind of hard to get in there with it, whereas the Surratt one is a lot smaller on the top there. And I just find it a little bit easier to really get in there and curl them. But I don't know, it could just be I've been using the Surratt one for so long that it's just gonna take me some time to get used to a new one. I'm gonna use a brown mascara. So this is Maybelline Sky High. I feel like I need a little bit more blush. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of my Tarte Amazonian Clay in Exposed. All right, finally for the lip. I can't remember exactly what I did. Powder my lips really quick. Okay, I'm gonna take Anywhere Caffeine. The lip I remember was kind of tricky because I couldn't really decide what I wanted to do. I want to say I took a little bit of this blush and I think I mixed in a little bit of this, the Fenty bronzer that we used. I'm gonna try applying a little bit of this. I just kind of mixed those together on the back of my hand. And then I have some glosses in the everyday makeup drawer, but I feel like this gloss right here is the one I kind of want to use because it just goes with this. Fenty and Hot Chocolate. So the Gloss Bomb in like the brown color. But just kind of in the center. All right, this is the final Mocha Mousse inspired makeup look. I really like it. I think it's very mocha-y without being, or still kind of in my makeup style, but just a little bit darker on the eyes. But what's great is that I pretty much used my entire everyday makeup drawer and project pan to create this, with the exception of this one lip gloss. But everything else were all things that I have here in my drawer. So I hope this inspires you. If there's a makeup look that you like, whether it's this or something else that you see, most likely you have something right in front of you that would help you create that look. You don't always have to buy the exact product that you see people using, even though it's fun to do sometimes. I do it myself quite a bit just because I love new makeup and I love to see what other people are using, but you can definitely use what you have to recreate something that you'll really love as well. You don't always have to have the new thing, so just remember that. But I hope you enjoyed the video. I will have everything listed and linked. If you are curious about anything, it will all be in the description box. If you do shop through any of my links, I do make a commission that supports my channel. So thank you so much. And if you're new, I would love for you to subscribe and follow me over on Instagram at simply.blair and TikTok simply.blair1. And I will see you again very soon. Remember, simply be you.